Previously with the $1,500 DSM. I'm about 99% sure it's got a blown head gasket. Now I wanted to make sure I didn't do the same thing I did with the LS, thinking it had rod knock, totally disassembling it just to find out it was something simple. So I wanted to make sure that it had a blown head gasket. To do that, I performed two tests. Number one, a compression test, and secondly, a leak down test. Now, compression test tests the engine's ability to make compression. The 4G63 passed that test, making about 160 PSI of compression in every single cylinder while the engine was cold. Now, the leak down test tests the engine's ability to hold pressure, not make pressure. And the 4G63 failed that. Every cylinder was leaking about 28% of the pressure being put into it, and sure enough, bubbles were coming out of the cooling system during the test, meaning that pressure was leaking out of the cylinders into the cooling system, and that explains all the issues we had on the road trip home. So really, there's no more point in delaying the inevitable. It's time to pull the head off this thing. Let's get to work. This car was a much better deal when it didn't have a blown head gasket and it had a transmission that didn't grind in second and third.
To be fair, it's done that since day one. We just didn't get it hot enough to...
Yeah, we didn't get it hot enough, and the owner said, just keep the bushing. So the head is off, and the intake manifold and the exhaust manifold are also off. Look at the ports on this bad boy. Got some big intake ports there. All the parts that I had to take off, all right here. So the process was actually really not too bad. The entire process in total took only a few hours. Before doing this, I had actually done a little bit of research on the DSM forums on like the quickest way, easiest way to remove the head. Keep the intake manifold on, keep the exhaust manifold on, just disconnect the turbo, disconnect all the fuel lines and stuff, and then you can pull it right out. Well, now we have to send the head off to get pressure tested, also decked, make sure the mating surface with the block is nice and smooth. I do also want to give you guys a huge thanks for all of the support on the Eclipse videos. It's no secret that Georgia hasn't gone the way that we wanted it to. Obviously, finding a shop has been just terrible, and without the shop, I'm not able to make the content that either one of us really necessarily wants to watch. But it's awesome to know that I can still get you guys excited about a project. I was just blown away by the amount of people who like DSMs, who are excited to see this car transform. I knew DSMs were popular, but I kind of thought they were forgotten about, but that's obviously not the case. Lots of people like DSMs. We're gonna do this DSM proud, and we're gonna get a shop too. I wanted to take extra time while the car was apart to really try to improve it. Doing simple things like cleaning parts, fixing simple leaks, and painting brackets can make a huge difference in how the engine bay looks and how the car feels. This is a 2-part clear spray paint that combines the convenience of spraying out of a can with the strength of paint sprayed out of a real gun with hardener. It'll give you a durable finish that's almost as strong as real paint, all for a pretty affordable price of 20 bucks a can. Ringo paint provides a durable, textured finish for parts that get hot. Things like valve covers, engine brackets. To get the best, most unanimous wrinkle, apply 3 heavy coats 5 minutes apart, then let the piece sit for about 10 minutes, and then put the piece into the oven at 200 degrees for about an hour. Now, there's nothing worse than an engine with fresh paint and old rusty hardware. Replacing that stuff is often quite easy and affordable, so I'm doing as much as I can while I'm here. If you're interested in doing this to your build, many websites will offer hardware kits for your car. Or if you prefer, you can take your old bolts to a local hardware store, match them up with new bolts, and purchase them that way. That will oftentimes be cheaper, but will require a little bit more effort and patience. So the block is clean, it's straight. Man, this is annoying as hell. The head is also all cleaned, resurfaced by machine shop. Look at how shiny that is. So we are ready to put the head back on to the engine. We've got our ARP studs back in there. We got a new Cometic head gasket. We're gonna use some copper spray just to help it seal a little bit better, since this block, you know, it's got a few thousand miles on it, that's for sure. I also have a tack rag to make sure there's absolutely no dust on the block or the head before putting it on. Head's back on. All of the valve train is back in. Cam's all torqued down. So now we have to time the motor, and then we have to, you know, connect the turbo, connect all the piping, all the, you know, coolant system, power steering pump back on, all the accessory belts, and a little surprise for right here. So everything that rotates, that moves around is all assembled. I drained the old oil out, which only had 600 miles on it. Put some new oil in, got it all over the head. I'm gonna go ahead and crank it, let it build oil pressure, let it pressurize the lifters, get all the oil up on top of the head, make sure there's no leaks, and then I'll plug everything, put the spark plugs in, fill it with coolant, and actually fire it. It shouldn't sound like it's making compression, so don't worry about that, because there's nothing in the spark plugs. Okay, battery is on. Let me go get the key. I need to tie in the oil pressure feed real quick. Well, that just ruined this entire thing. The oil feed thing is stripped out, but that's so stupid because it didn't even ever get tight. Audrey, now what you're gonna have to do is just hold this here and tell me once oil starts spraying out of that.
Thank you.
Alright, it's got oil pressure. Gotta fix that and assemble everything else. My fix for the stripped oil feed line was this, my extended custom banjo bolt. I just took a bolt long enough to reach the good threads in the head, drilled the hole down the center of it, and drilled a hole through the side of it. If overheating caused the head gasket to blow the first time, I'm making damn sure that it's not ever going to overheat again. So Mishimoto sent out their X-Line radiator and fan shroud kit for this car. This radiator is almost 3 times as thick as the factory radiator. It's got 16% thinner tubes, got a greater density of rows, and the 3-row design creates more air turbulence, maximizing cooling efficiency. So the car fired right up, but ran kind of like garbage. It was ticking really loudly, and it just did not want to hold an idle. I fooled around with the timing a bit, and fooled around with the throttle stopping screw to get it to idle decently, but it still wasn't there. Well, that's when I remembered I forgot to plug in the brake booster. So the car just had a massive vacuum leak. Replaced the head gasket without screwing up on an engine I've never worked on. That's awesome. It also sounds like the ticking's better.
Mm-hmm.